Talmud as being the backbone of Judaism. One can really connect in a variety of levels. It's about the actual process of learning, the actual process of thinking. Those texts cannot stay by the few, but they're meant for the masses, they're meant for everybody.
Learning Gemara, it's an insight into our Jewish life that's 1,800 plus years old. It's very relevant to where we are today and everything that we do.
Studying Talmud and getting a real sense of literacy in the Talmud is really important for understanding the different philosophical, sociological, spiritual debates that frame how we live.
The main purpose of this translation was to give you the keys for knowledge, that a person can really spend time learning and eventually will be able to learn Talmud by himself. They'll be able to have their own teacher in the pocket.
We wanted to make the Talmud more accessible, which is both a Koren goal, but particularly a Rav Steinsaltz's goal, not just for the uninitiated, but also how could an experienced user do better.
My level of understanding of Gemara in this cycle has advanced tremendously versus the previous 13 years that I spent my first 2 cycles of Daf Yomi.
This translation had a lot to offer to a wide range of people that they're simply not getting anywhere else. The text that we are using is this marvelous Koren Talmud, and it is as aesthetically pleasing as you can see on every page.
To see a picture of the actual archaeological site of something mentioned in the Gemara, something mentioned in the Torah, that by itself is enormously engaging.
What's also important in learning Gemara is that you understand the source of every halacha.
If you have a machloket in the Gemara, at the end of the page you have the halacha, which is very, very helpful.
I love the little anthropological and sociological nuggets of the rabbis and the times that they lived in. It gives a broader context and it allows you to really envision yourself in those ancient times.
The Koren Gemara is the only Gemara that really takes you through the sugya in a point-by-point manner while filling in all the surrounding material.
Because it's punctuated and because it has nikudot, that's really what led people to move on to learn just from a Vilna page. That's something that I don't think is really achieved in other editions.
I think that the translation is the single biggest game changer for Jewish learning.
It's new, it's up to date, it's modern as can be, but it doesn't lose any of the authenticity of the eternal Talmud.
The new edition of the Koren Talmud Bavli is affecting the way people learn on a daily basis throughout the world.
I was brought up in an Anglo-Jewish home, and in terms of Jewish education, there was really very little. In many ways, I always will be Baal Teshuvah. I get a really big kick when the new Masechet arrives in the post, and it is a wonderful thing to say that in my lifetime, please God, I will have finished at least once the full cycle of Shas.
I'm the vice president of Machon Lev, Jerusalem College of Technology, where every student is required to spend his morning learning Torah. We have several sets of the Noe edition of the Koren Talmud in the Beit Midrash here, and I know that it's well used by students.
11 years ago, a woman came to me and said, "Rabbi, would you give a class to women in Gemara?" And today we have had 60 or 70 women in the Gemara class. We would have just the Hebrew. Half of the women who are there today would be lost. This is not just women, by the way, men as well. Before this was available, we used a different English translation, but it's day and night compared to this edition.
We're in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm close with my grandkids and I want to keep that relationship going. Doing it through learning is a very good way to do it. Eitan is in Elizabeth, New Jersey.
The Koren Talmud ungodly. This one is actually better because it has the English and the Hebrew on the same page, and it has a bit of explanation on the side. It's helpful. I can understand it better.
His Rebbe asked the boys to prepare a Gemara on their own, so he prepared something that we had done together, and he really, if I can say so, he blew them away.
In United Synagogue has about 60 communities, mainly in London, and we're giving this to our madrichim on our camps. It's been ordered by a number of schools in the UK. So this is a really exciting project for us because we think it opens many doors and many possibilities for people who've not necessarily been part of the Talmudic conversation before.
This is really the first complete commentary on Gemara by one person. Recognize that Rashi didn't write a commentary on all of Masechtot. But really, Rav Steinsaltz accomplished something that no one in history has done until this point. And now bringing it to the English-speaking public, that's an enormous accomplishment.
The learning is the key. Connectivity is through the learning. What Rabbi Steinsaltz and his group did, opened this book to the public.
You have to understand the impact the Noe family has had. We're talking about a legacy of directly influencing hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of Jews over the coming generations. Thank you, God, for letting us do this.
We will be able to encourage greater numbers of people to come together and perhaps break down some of these barriers which are faced when learning Gemara. And this is particularly exciting for us. And I think with the completion of the set, there's really an impetus now to push forward and bring the learning of Gemara to a broader and wider audience.